In Resident Evil Revelations, you take control of Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield in between Resident Evil 4 and 5 as you search for one another amidst a looming threat.
Don't tell me that was the tugboat.
Damn it. It's all a setup.
The Veltro, vengeful messages from the depths of the Inferno.
For those of you that don't know, Resident Evil Revelations is actually a port of a 3DS game of the same name that came out last year. So because of that, Resident Evil Revelations may feel to some a little bit less than what a AAA title is, but that doesn't mean you should think of it any different. This is a solid port, but it also translates very well to console gameplay, and it really is a bit of a return to form for Resident Evil that I was hoping for. Seeing as I didn't play the 3DS version, I jumped into this having no idea what it was, and I didn't know what to expect, and I found something that is kind of like a happy medium between Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 6 in terms of the coolness that is Resident Evil 4 and the kind of more shooter-heavy action of Resident Evil 6. And I think the combination actually blends together pretty much perfectly with a couple of problems, but I had a blast with Resident Evil Revelations. I was very surprised. The game is not much to look at, and at times the production quality does suffer, but overall it does tell a decent tale, and it feels considerably Resident Evil. Jill and Chris are there, and they're well represented. There's a lot of new characters. Everyone has goofy voice actors, and the plot is just kind of crazy and out there, and that's great because that's what I expect from a Resident Evil game, so I can't knock it for that much. What is awesome about how the story is told is that it jumps back and forth between time and between characters, so they weave this tale very slowly. It's a very slow burn how things actually come together. And you play in different scenes in different times as different characters. And it works very well, and it's very episodic in the way that every chapter ends, and then you are given a refresher of what has happened in a TV style, previously on Resident Evil Revelations. And I thought that was really cool, except that was the Mandarin voice. That was kind of out of place. Gameplay-wise, while there are sections that are very shooter-heavy, this game still resembles very much Resident Evil 4. There is much creepiness, there is keys that you need to find to unlock special doors, there is backtracking, there is limited ammo, and stuff like that. I will say that the limited ammo thing does crop up to be a bit of a balancing issue in levels and scenarios where you just need to shoot everything. And I feel like the balancing isn't right, and when you find yourself too much just relying on the knife, and that was actually my problem with Resident Evil 6. Sometimes it feels a bit messy. But that's few and far between, unlike the majority of Resident Evil 6, so I'm okay with it, because overall, the game is very enjoyable and a blast to play. I was feeling kind of dangerous, so I picked this up on Wii U, and it works great with the controller. The menu integration on the gamepad is great. The joysticks of the Wii U do take a little while to get used to for a shooter-type game because of the dead zone. But overall, it is a good port for the Wii U and for the Xbox 360 and PS3. But like I said earlier, what I enjoy most about Resident Evil Revelations is the fact that it does feel like an older Resident Evil game with, of course, some sacrifices. But like I said, I do love the emphasis on atmosphere and tension and looking for things and exploration and character development. The new characters are a nice addition. They do change things up a little bit, but they're also kind of a bit of a disappointment because they're kind of dumb, and in gameplay, they are no help whatsoever. The level design is pretty great and very creepy, and not what I expected from a 3DS game. There are pretty substantial and well-built levels, and enemy designs are very different from what you expect from a Resident Evil game. There's not much in terms of zombies, but there are plenty of bioengineered monsters, some of which are very creepy, and they really fit in with the whole nautical sea element of this game, which is very unique for the series, and that's what makes Resident Evil Revelations stand out the most for me. So Resident Evil Revelations is a good time, especially if you're a Resident Evil fan. I can't totally recommend picking it up for the full $60 price, just because it does feel like less of a game, and it is not as long, and it's not going to be for everyone, but I think if you're a Resident Evil fan, definitely go for this. So that's what I thought of Resident Evil Revelations. If you look to the side, you can check out a review of another zombie game that wasn't so good, Dead Island Riptide. You can also check out a review of Resident Evil 6, which me and my pals kind of ripped apart. And also you can check out a review for the last Resident Evil movie, whatever the hell it was. I don't even want to talk about it. But let me know anything you guys want to know about Resident Evil Revelations. Let's talk about it. Did you guys play it for the 3DS and then play it for the consoles? Is there a difference? Because I don't know. Let me know anything you guys like or disliked about Resident Evil Revelations. And that's pretty much it.
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.